All right, welcome back to Greybeard Disc Golf. I've got a brand new disc review for us today. Brand new in that it's actually a brand new disc, not a 7 or 8 year old disc that maybe I thought was brand new and maybe said in my video was brand new. But anyways, whatever. This is brand new. This was approved in December of 2023. It is the Racer by Innova. I've got two racers here with me today. I've got the Proto Stamp and I've got the Red Racer Snake. The orange one's at 168 and my red one's at 170. Now, Innova kind of created this disc to fill a bit of a gap. They wanted to create a beat-in destroyer out of the box. So ideally, this should fly like a beat-in destroyer right out of the box. And what does that mean for someone like me, who's a bit of an amateur? I'm in a MA3. I'm hopefully moving up to MA2 this year. The destroyer is a little bit much for my arm, kind of. And I'm going to put an asterisk in that, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, because I have something that's kind of special. So, the Innova Racer. So they're saying that this should fly like a racer, like a destroyer that has been beat in for 6 months. And you'll notice that this has a bit of a bead on the rim, like a really pronounced bead on the rim. This is something new. Not very many discs have a rim bead. I think the Passion probably has something like a rim bead, but that's fairly new. So I had a large stack of discs here that I was going to compare to the Racer until I realized that really I need to kind of drill down exactly what I want to get out of this disc. And I realized that what I want a beat-in destroyer to do is really push forward really far and then have a nice hard hook at the end. That's all I want. That's all I want. I mean, so this Pro Destroyer does that for me. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but let's get some throws on the Racer. Let's throw the orange one first and get some distance on. Let's see how far this pushes. I'm going to try to release it as flat as I can and as nose down as I can. Okay, there's a little bit of Anheuser, but boy, that thing flies. There's that 6 glide coming into it. Not bad. That's probably out about 300 feet. Close to it, anyways. All right, let's throw our Proto. Much better release. Still a little bit of Anheuser, though. But boy, fought out at the end, didn't it? There's something I wanted to note about these two discs. And now, obviously, these are both very early runs of the Racer. But the dome on these two is very, very different. And I'll put up a shot that I took comparing the dome. The orange one is incredibly domey, very, very domey, and the red one doesn't have quite nearly as much dome. It's almost flat on the top once it gets up over the shoulder. So I'm curious to see how that's going to affect how they fly. Now, distance-wise, not a ton. They both pretty well ended up around the same spot. So for comparison, I have my Pro Destroyer. Now, the Pro Destroyer, I got to say a few things about this thing because I was turned on to the Pro Destroyer by one of the players in our club. He's consistently one of the #1 tags, and he throws one, and he says, Chris, you really should try this. It might suit you really, really well. This thing flew like a beat-in destroyer right out of the box. The Pro plastic is a less premium plastic. It's not as premium as the Star or the Halo Star, so it's a little bit less expensive, which I really like. But it's also quite grippy. It still feels like Star, and it also has a little bit more glide. Now, Innova actually says this Pro plastic should glide more than the same disc in other plastics. So I have a Gorgon in the Pro plastic as well, and I can confirm that that thing has a ton of glide, more glide than the Star and the G-Star Gorgons that I have. So for sure, this thing flies exactly like how the Racer should fly. So let's put it out there and we'll see what we can get out of it. I love this thing. Again, a little bit of Anheuser, which is, I think, what you want for distance on that disc. And, I mean, what more could an MA3 player ask for? At any rate, my question is, why would they bring out a whole new disc when that thing does exactly what they should do in the first place? But we're going to throw a few more shots with this. I'm going to put it out on a hyzer. We'll see if we can get it to flip up like a beat-in destroyer normally would. And then we're going to throw it on an Anheuser, see if we can't get it to flex out. I want to make a quick note as well about the hand feel of this, because with the beaded rim, you might think, wow, the beaded's going to get in the way. The way that I power grip is like so. I've got my thumb a little bit further out on the flight plate. I'm doing a pinch grip. I love my pinch grip. It gives me really good spin. And so I don't really feel the bead at all on my backhand on my power grip. On a forehand grip, though, something went a little janky. As soon as I put this in my hand and I throw kind of a semi-fan grip. I don't quite stack, but I got a little bit of fan and I push my thumb down quite hard. As soon as I put this in my hand, my ring finger found the track. And that's not how I throw. I throw with my ring finger out on the edge, but I had to stop and go, oh my God, okay, I need that to go out. So just like when the Zone GT, when you got that ring top, like on the Discraft ringer, your finger's going to find the spot where it feels most comfortable. Anyways, that's grip feel. It feels amazing in the hand. The rim is a little bit shorter than you would find maybe on a lot of 12 speeds, but we're going to put this out on a hyzer, see if we can't get it to hold the hyzer line. Wow, it flipped up a bit. Wow. Okay, so as a hyzer flip, that's really got some distance. Okay, let's try that again on a hyzer. Let's see if we can put it on a little bit more hyzer. And it still wants to flip up and push. Wow. So while we didn't really get a ton of distance out of these, it certainly was a beautiful shock shape on that hyzer, and I was unexpected. I expected it to kind of hold the hyzer line, but it didn't. It wanted to flip up on both on the regular hyzer and then on a slightly more steep hyzer as well. So let's put this out on an anhyzer, see if we can't push it forward and get it to flex out. Stock stamp first. Get out there, fight out. Very nice. Again, a very, very similar distance. Let's put the proto out there. A little more anhyzer. Fight out, will you? And it's not really going to fight out. It's going to fall all the way to the right. So you can see, you put a ton of anhyzer on that. It doesn't really want to fight out at the end. I think that's that 2 fade on the disc. On a really harsh anhyzer, it's not going to fight out at all. Whereas if you put it on a slightly more forgiving anhyzer line, it'll finish off just like that orange one did, that stock stamp did, and behave exactly how you expect it to behave. Okay, time now for the obligatory garbage forehand. Now, if you watch my videos, you know I'm not a big forehand player. Mostly approach shots, short throws under 180 or so with my zone. I feel comfortable doing those. I don't really feel comfortable with a forehand on distance. That doesn't mean I haven't thrown beautiful forehands on distance. It's repeatable. It's not repeatable for me. So I try to limit the amount of forehanding I do. But we'll see how these racers do. Could these be the solution to my forehand problems? Let's find out. Holds a hyzer. Nice flight, nice predictable hyzer flight. It's going to hold it. It's not going to flip up on me. Let's see if we can't throw this one pretty flat. Oh, no, I'm going to anhyzer it. And it's still going to fight out. I'll apologize for the bad exposure right now. Obviously, I'm throwing from in the shade here up onto the hill. The basket there plays 325, but the top of the hill plays about 260-ish feet. Now, obviously, that's also elevated. It's about 15 to 18 feet up, depending on where you hit it. So you got to really crank on it. And there's only a handful of guys in our club that can consistently get to the top of the hill. This is where I would normally throw my Pro Destroyer. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to throw the racers. We'll see if we can get them to behave the way that they should. The miss here is if you turn it over just a little bit, you could end up in those trees on the right side, and that's never a good place to be. That's 2 shots generally to get out of there to the bottom of the hill, and then you're looking at a double. But let's see if we can't get this. If it flips up like it did in the field, I might be able to just throw it straight at that bush on the right side, just at the edge of the fairway, and maybe have it flip up and finish off at the top of the hill. Yeah, and that worked out perfectly. That's exactly how I want that to behave. Let's try that again, see if we can't duplicate it. Well, a little lower, but it should push through. Pretty close. So you can see on that lower flat line how it wants to push forward. Again, that's really the flight you want out of a broken-in destroyer. You want it to push forward, but still have that hard kick at the end. All right, let's head up there, see if we can't birdie that. So there's that second shot. You can see even from there, I've still got to look at the basket, just a little punch through, and that's certainly easy enough to par. The first shot, though, that pushed through. Let's see where that ended up. Okay, yeah, and it again, that hard finish ended up down here. We got an outside look for a C2 putt. See if we can't finish that off. Find a place to put the camera. Whoa. All right, good enough. And just a hair short, pinned it for a par. Now this plays as the hardest hole on the whole course, so the par here feels a little bit like a birdie. So here is another hole where I would generally use my Pro Destroyer. It's quite a bit shorter than the first hole, but it's very similar in that it's uphill. That's one of the benefits, I think, of this specific disc, is that the idea here is to push it out forward, straight and flat, and just have it push, 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 and then crash towards the basket after it gets between those two trees. See if we can't hit a line. It's a Mando on the right side. You can't see the sign, but it's that big tree on the right. So we got to get inside that. Up high, crash out. Let's see if we can't get racer number 2 up there. Push forward right at the basket. That's what I want. But don't roll away. Oh no, it's still rolling. Ah, hole number 9, you got me again. That first one was kind of just down at the bottom of the hill, and I forehanded it, just glibly ripped it up the hill. Look at that, it's parked. That's beauty. That other one though, it would have rolled away. Pretty bad. Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Holy smoke. That is a roll away. That is nasty. And that is the miss on this hole. That's what's going to happen. Let's run this a bit, shall we? Oh. So as we walk along here to where I'm going to be doing the final shot of the video, you've seen me throw on that fairway before. It's a beautiful 300-foot slight turnover shot. We'll see if we can't get it to get it to park there. Now, the question I have a couple of questions. Number one, what is the manufacturer actually trying to do with this disc? Well, number one, I think they're obviously trying to sell more discs. That's what they do. I mean, they can offer better products. The more stronger the company is, that's never a bad thing. I think they're trying to kind of play the pros off the amateurs here and make the amateurs feel like they're throwing a destroyer. Now, they've completely ignored the fact that they already have a disc that makes an amateur like me feel like I'm throwing a destroyer, and that's in the Pro Plastic. It flies exactly like I want it to do. And they've come up with something brand new, which made me think maybe there's another reason, and it's that beaded rim. They could be testing out to see how the beaded rim is going to be received and maybe use that to introduce more discs with the beaded rim in the future, just to kind of get a gauge for exactly what the community thinks about the beaded rim. Will this disc make it into my bag? You know, when I'm deciding to put a disc in my bag or not, I'm looking for two things. The number one thing that I'm looking for is, will this improve on a disc that's already in my bag? Which by that I mean, will this do a better job than something I already have? Obviously, the question is no. In this case, that Pro Destroyer does everything I want it to do. Could I use a racer as a backup? Yeah, I guess so, for sure. The feel in the hand is about the same. I don't have any problem with it. It's just that I've got something that already does that job for me. And the second thing I'm asking is, will this disc do something that I can't already do? Does it give me a new shot in the bag? Again, for me, that's a no. I think that this racer is a great disc, and if you're not already throwing a Pro Destroyer, the racer is an excellent option for you to get something that you can push forward and then still have that hard finish at the end. Again, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to say look around at the disc. If you go into a physical shop, please, whenever you can, shop at a physical shop. Go into those stores. They're the ones that are out there, you know, volunteering, sponsoring your community. Have a look at all these racers and see if there's a big difference in the dome between the ones that are there, because obviously you saw there's a huge difference in the dome between these two discs that I bought. So, you know, get out there, have a lot of fun, you know, support your local disc store. Racer, I think you're a great disc. You're definitely not going to displace my Pro Destroyer though, because now I can actually say I throw a Destroyer without having to say, well, I throw something that's like a Destroyer. So once again, thanks for joining me here today for my review of the brand new Discraft Racer. This is a great disc. Like I said, though, I don't think it's going to displace anything that's currently in my bag. Let's see if we can get this out there. See if we can get this to turn a little bit more. Follow that Anheuser did in the field. And then finish up. Oh my goodness. Okay. You know, I really was not expecting that to happen. That was literally my first throw, and you know, I made this decision. Racer, you're not going to get into my bag, but man, and then you go and pull something like that. That just drives me crazy. Disc golf. I love it. Where did you end up? Oh, right there. Yeah, that's insane. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me again today. Come on back. More content's coming up soon. And hey, did you practice some putting today? Get out there, throw some more putts. We'll see you next time on Greybeard Disc Golf.